Welcome to the KPC Smart Money Podcast with Kevin and Karen Chris. So Karen, we were talking about last week, we started with the 6 things your financial planning is probably missing, and we got to number 3, didn't we?
Went halfway there.
Okay, so
That's why it's a two-parter.
that's right. And number 1 is not having enough emergency savings. We were talking about, ways that you can, start a Roth account and some other things. And having too much in company stock was the second one, right? We've seen that. We actually had that happen to us a little bit. And then the other thing was not having an asset allocation plan. That was the third thing. Now, the fourth, and what we're going to get into today, is not running a retirement calculation. Well, we call that, for our clients, the retirement blueprint. It answers questions like, are you saving enough? Are you going to run out of money before you run out of breath?
How much money, how much of your retirement does the IRS own?
Yeah, that's a big one. And we do workshops, so Karen's a star of that.
Have you considered inflation?
Yeah, taxes and retirement seminars we do. So anyway, many people seem to base whether they're on track for retirement by how much they're saving. They say things like, I'm maxing out my retirement plan, so I must be okay. Okay, let's stop right there. Do you have any idea how many people come to us and they say, well, this is what I'm doing in my 401k. They figure that the company retirement plan, that the company is going to take care of them, and surely they would be able to have enough to retire. Well, guess what? Sometimes people come to us and their retirement plan at work is not enough.
Right.
So it's good to have a plan with an outside advisor, somebody that is a professional in the field. And let me tell you something else. Some of these estimates that I see on the 401ks, that if you do this, you'll have that. I don't believe in all of those. I think some of those are inflated and some of them are not correct.
Well, they don't take into account a lot of different things. They don't take into account taxes. They do not take into account
And how do they know what
inflation.
your expenses are?
That's the big one right there. How do they know what your expenses are? How do they know how much income you need in retirement? They
don't know. So they say, based on what you're putting in and based on what the company is contributing, we think that, this is what you're going to have in retirement once you add in your Social Security.
Yeah, so and how long are they calculating that for? A 10-year retirement, a 20, a 30, 35, 40?
I haven't seen it in a while, but it used to be, it seemed like, 10, 20 years ago, they used to have retirement plans that went to 85 because they didn't think anybody was going to live longer than 85. Well, guess what? Both my parents are 92, right? Your dad lived to 85. Your mother's still alive at 84 and going strong. So we've got to be, when we make these plans, we show what you're going to have when you're 100, don't we?
100 plus, yeah. So I guess what we're trying to get at is just hope is not a good plan. Just thinking, hey, I'm maxing out, I'm going to be fine. It looks like a good sum of money to me. Okay, you need a lot more information. When are you going to retire? What are your income needs going to be? Do you have guaranteed income to cover your expenses? Do you know how much you're going to get from Social Security? So really, the only way to know if you're saving enough is you've got to run actual numbers.
Guess what, Karen? Some people need a lot more money to retire than others. And a lot of that has to do with expenses and debt. And so the big picture is, what are you going to get? What do you have coming in guaranteed? Do you have a pension? What is your Social Security going to be? We see a wide variety. I've had people that, I think, based on, their income now and what kind of person, what kind of education, that their Social Security would be a lot higher than what it actually is.
Right.
So all of those things, right? What else? What's the fifth thing out of the 6?
A lot of people do not consider long-term care or the increases in health costs as you retire. People generally don't want to think about it or don't think about it unless they have had a close family member that they have gone through this with. And frankly, that doesn't happen in most people's lives until their late 60s. when they've got parents that they've seen all of a sudden need long-term care. But we have found long-term care is probably one of the most serious risks in derailing a good, sound retirement plan if people have not made provisions for it.
Well, that's right. Medicaid covers long-term care costs, but you have to have,
You have to
like
be
nothing.
poor and no assets. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have nothing. So, some people think Medicare covers
No, it
long-term
does
care.
not.
What does Medicare cover?
It'll cover the first couple months. That's it.
Like, wasn't it like 100 days
It's
in a
100
rehab
days,
center
yeah.
or something like that?
So like a month, 3.5 months, and that's it. So, people, oh yeah, Medicare will pay for it. No, they won't.
Well, plus in a rehab center. How was that rehab center they put your dad in? It's awful.
Don't even want to go there.
It's awful. So some of these so-called rehab centers, it's not the same as assisted living. It's not the care you get in a hospital. Someone comes by maybe once or twice a day if you're lucky and shoves some food in front of you, right? And maybe refills your water glass. So you need to make, if you want to stay in a nice place, you're going to need to make some
Plans for it.
conscious decisions and some plans for that.
Yeah.
So, long-term care insurance can help protect your assets while providing more choices in Medicaid. It's generally recommended for people in their 50s to early 60s. But buy it too early and you can be paying for premiums for a long time before you need it. Wait too long and it can be a lot more expensive, right, Karen?
Or you may not even qualify. We're not particular fans of standalone long-term care, but we've got lots of ideas on how to help plug this potential hole in your retirement plan. Just give us a call, 877-KPC-PLAN, or go to kpcfinancialsolutions.com. Now, Kevin, here is the last thing that we see a lot of people don't cover in an overall retirement plan, and that's estate planning.
Yeah. Almost everyone understands the need for a will and other basic estate planning documents, and yet very few have actually put them in place. Isn't it amazing, Karen, that sometimes you'll have two professionals that'll come and they're thinking about retiring, they have kids, and some of them even have grandkids already, and they don't have a will.
Right. Oh, it's surprising. And a lot of people do not know the difference between a will and a trust. So people think, oh, trusts are expensive. I don't need enough assets to do a trust. But we have found that there's very little additional cost for a trust. And trusts are great because you avoid probate. Believe me, your heirs are going to be very happy with you if everything is going to a trustee, nothing is going into probate, because frankly, having to go to probate court can cost your heirs a lot of money. So don't not look at wills versus trust. And then there are forms that you need to have on file: medical powers of attorney, financial power of attorney, what used to be called do not resuscitate. There are HIPAA forms that you need to do. So, yeah, it's not real pleasant necessarily to think about it, but you've got to think about it to save your heirs and save your loved ones a lot of hassle.
Well, Karen, that wraps up our podcast on 6 things your financial planning is probably missing. You recognize any of these mistakes in your financial life? Well, if you do, you can hit us on our website at kpcfinancialsolutions.com. There's all sorts of complimentary retirement downloads and all sorts of things. If you want a consultation, hit the consultation tab or the retirement blueprint tab. Well, our time is up, Karen. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Bless you and your families.
You've been listening to the KPC Smart Money Podcast with Kevin and Karen Christ. To listen to more episodes, visit kpcsmartmoney.com. You can also find the KPC Smart Money Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher.
KPC Financial Solutions is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through KPC Financial Solutions, LLC, a registered investment company. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any reference to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. KPC Financial Solutions is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by KPC Financial Solutions. Hypothetical examples have been provided for illustrative purposes only. It does not represent a real-life scenario and should not be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation.